Tinted specs, maroon tinted specs off, and green tinted specs on, I guess, because it was Celtic's year, it was Celtic's time, it was the 2023-24 Scottish Premiership.
If Celtic winning trophies means that we have to view this through green tinted specs, then everybody in Scotland at this point is pretty much wearing green tinted specs because they win everything. So
yes, they win everything.
Can we just do away with the coloured specs here and have no tints in them?
Yep, Celtic won the league. That was about it. So until next time, we don't want to do that. We have to actually refute.
We have to go through this shit show of a Premiership and actually call it the teams that were good, or call it the teams that were bad. Praise the teams that were good, and just look at these 12 mediocre Scottish clubs that play in the top flight of our game. Well, 11 of them, Livingston, are gone.
Livingston are gone.
Au revoir.
Dundee came up. Dundee United went down. That was at the start of the season. But
Dundee are staying up, but Dundee United are coming back up.
The two biggest home wins go to Celtic, 6-0 and 7-1 against Aberdeen and Dundee.
See,
two pathetic games, by the way.
If you think about it, though, in terms of like stature of the league and club size, it was probably the ideal outcome for people that want like Scottish football to be the best it can be, because you got the shittest club in the Premier League got relegated, and the biggest club in the Championship and best club in the Championship came up.
Yeah.
So this should make the Premiership a lot stronger going into next season.
No, absolutely. But here we have to talk about the rest of it, and we've got longest winning run was Rangers with 19 games. Celtic went 16 games undefeated. Livingston went 17 games for a win. Losing run was Livingston 8 games, and the highest attendance was the Old Firm.
I believe you said 19 games there for Rangers' longest winning run. It was 9.
I said 9, definitely.
Well,
I wish they went in 19. Alright, they didn't.
I think if you play that back, you will hear 19.
Well, we're not playing it back. With a total attendance of 3.7 million. So that's a decent wee hang. Alright, we've got the stadiums, we've got Pataudry, we know the stadiums, it's not like the lower leagues where some people might not know, but here, did you know 15,000 could fit into Rugby Park?
I did know that, aye.
Did you know 13.6 could fit into Fir Park?
Not those numbers exactly, but roughly, aye.
And McDermott Park, I think it's disgraceful here, because 10,500, and when is it ever full? I'm sick of seeing yellow, blue and red.
Probably that time they played Galatasaray. I think it was the only time I've seen it full.
Probably about the only time. So we're going to move down.
Even when they had the cup double winning season, I mean, they never really... You'd have thought, they won a cup double. I think they were top 6 in the league that year as well. It was like, you would have thought that would have brought the fans out, but...
Yep. Now, there was a lot of managerial changes at the end of the day. Tony Docherty for Gary Barr. Ange left. Rodgers came in. That was pre-season. During the season, Lee Johnston, Beale, McLean, Mackay, Robson, Adams, Warnock, Nick Montgomery all went.
Who had the bigger shocker in terms of like managerial changes, Aberdeen or Ross County? Who was the bigger shit show? I think you can make a case for both of them. Both changed managers twice.
I'm going to go for Aberdeen, right? Because...
This is Neil Warnock top Derek Adams.
Neil Warnock's run was fucking horrific. Derek Adams was, right? But I don't think Ross County being down there is the greatest surprise ever. Aberdeen not being able to buy a result is... They couldn't buy anything, man. They were shocking under Warnock.
They bought themselves a ticket to Hampden.
They did.
Which they kind of got robbed.
They may as well got a refund on it.
Well, they should have.
And then, of course, Nick Montgomery, last guy. But in terms of who was the best manager to come in out of, apart from pre-season, so Nick Montgomery... No.
Who was the best manager to come in? Well, I mean, Craig Levein kept St Johnstone up. And when he came in, it looked like they were doing. You could maybe argue him. Tony Docherty, this was his first season. You could very easily argue him. Brendan Rodgers done a cup double. I mean, you could argue him. Well, a cup and league double. It's not Nick Montgomery. It's certainly not him. Philippe Clement had the season ended.
Had it in Pammy's hands.
End of March, start of April. It would have probably been him. Neil Warnock, definitely not him. Don Cowie done pretty well.
Fuck, Rangers were third when Clement took over.
A little bit disappointing that I think Ross County fell off during the split, but he done his job keeping them up. And Peter Levin as well, to be honest. That's another guy that we should give a lot of credit to, because albeit when he came in, the Aberdeen games weren't really meaning much because they could no longer get top 6, so maybe the pressure was off in that regard. But he came very close to getting Aberdeen into the final. Who knows, had he got there, maybe could have won a Scottish Cup. And the form when he came in actually really improved, albeit majority of those games were against like bottom six sides. So, who would you get in terms of managers coming in? Who would you say was the best?
Well,
You've got a lot to pick from. There's a lot there.
tell you what, Neil
What
Warnock.
about Sir Davy Gray unbeaten?
True, Neil Warnock lasted barely a month. That's mental.
Felt like a shit show, though, didn't it?
It did. Who would I give it to? I mean, I know people say, "How can you not give it to Rodgers?" Right?
I'll tell you why. Because he's got the best team he's got the best squad by a mile. He's got the favourites to win everything, and he barely got over the line. I don't care if it was 8 points. He barely got over the line. If you're only going to give like the award, the best manager, to the guy who wins the league, then it's only going to be Rangers and Celtic.
I'm gonna give it to Tony Docherty. Top 6 finish for Dundee was unthinkable. I put them to. I actually predicted them 11th, and they
I think
finished
I had
6th.
them 8th.
Yeah, so exceeded our expectations.
But there was a lot of good managers that came in this season.
Yeah. As for
Even if you take Clement and Rodgers out the equation, like I said, Tony Docherty did really well. I think Craig Levein, if you look at perspective of what he done well because St Johnstone were down and out at that point. Don Cowie came in, I think, done a decent job at Ross County, and then Peter Levin also came in and steadied the ship at Aberdeen. I mean, maybe our Aberdeen thinking, hold on, maybe we should have gave Peter Levin the job, or do you think they've made the right choice with feeling?
maybe they've made the right choice with or feeling. But anyway, let's move on to the league table. Celtic finished 8 points clear of Rangers, which sounds bizarre considering that Rangers closed the gap, but you know what? It's pathetic. It's no good enough. If buts, maybes don't deal here. Hearts finished with 17 points behind Rangers, and I mean, in terms of points behind Celtic, they finished 20, 25. So 25 points behind. That's disappointing. I think Hearts should be looking to close the gap for next season.
I mean, it did look like they were going to close the gap, didn't it? And then they ended up finishing.
Know what the problem is, so right? I feel for Hearts because they pretty much got third wrapped up last year.
But do you remember they were going into that game against like Rangers and they were only like 10, 11 points behind?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have a great end, and to be fair to Celtic, they hit form at the right time.
They did. Great season for Hearts regardless, right? 12 points back.
Remember Ewan Cameron was claiming they were in a title fight?
Yeah, no, 12 points back. We've got Kelly with 56 points, finishing, 37 behind Celtic, 29 behind Rangers. So, again, it's a good season. It's a great season from Kelly. Can they build on it next season? I think they will. I think them and Hearts, they've got to aim to get that gap closer to the Old Firm. As for St Mirren, well, they went one step closer than they did last season. Dundee, great, as we've talked about with Docherty. Then we get into the job squad.
I know, but it does feel a bit, I don't know, it feels anticlimactic when you get into the top 6, but you finish 6th.
Yeah, but Dundee will take that, right? Aberdeen up next. Then we get Hibs. Then we get Motherwell. Very poor. Just, free or shite. It's like Aberdeen almost got their season forgotten about in a way because Hibs were down there with them, and then Motherwell.
I think Motherwell will take 9th because I know they started pretty well, but they did have that period where they went 15 games without a win.
Yeah.
And at that point, they were heading towards the bottom. They managed to then get some decent results, but I just think Motherwell will be happy not to go down because at one point it was like just constant defeat after defeat.
Yeah.
With a draw in there.
Then we've got the likes of St Johnstone, Ross County and Livingston. What I would say, I think the fact that Livingston are down and Dundee United's up, and Dundee United I expect to be challenging for top 6, I do. I think that means St Johnstone is fucking down.
Next season?
Yep. Well, put it this way, I actually think the fact that Dundee United go up, I think there's a real chance if Aberdeen and Hibs don't get it right, one of them could go down or at least finish 11th.
Yeah, no, it could be.
So we'll have to wait and see with that. But there is your league table. In terms of any other things, which we've got, like season statistics, big Lawrence Shankland finishing top by a mile.
All right, top goal scorer, 24 goals. Can he beat that?
Can he beat that? And all these people, how could Rangers replace James Tavernier's Scholes?
Just sign this guy.
Exactly, sign fucking Lawrence Shankland.
Just pay the 8 million that's required and you'll get him.
It's not hard, alright? It's really not hard. And then we go into the clean sheets. We've got Rangers with 18, with Butland, Joe Hart and Sander Clark joint with 15 each. Then you've got Will Dennis with 14. Is it any surprise that the top 4 teams in the league have got the highest amount of clean sheets? No, it's not a surprise. But Joe Hart, I think Joe Hart was actually alright this season. I know we've bashed him a lot, but I think he actually saved Celtic in quite a lot of games.
Probably the second half of this season was his best period as a Celtic player.
Yep. He peaked right towards the end, a wee purple patch
it seems
for
to
Joe.
be like, you would have maybe thought the opposite. Like the older he got, towards the end of his career, he would have got worse. But it seemed to be towards the end of his career, towards the end of his Celtic run, he got better. So
Yeah, it's mad to think that Shamal George for Livingston got 7 clean sheets. But they do like a 0-0.
yeah, they're very, very fond of
They
him.
love a 0-0, right? Managers of the month, sorry. You've got Stephen Robinson, you've got Rogers, McKinns, Naismith, McKinns, Clement with a wee double in there. Then you've got Tony Docherty and Brendan Rodgers. Did they not? I don't think, for some reason, they haven't gave an award for May. Not too sure why they didn't do an award for May, but I'm going to assume Brendan Rodgers would have won it. Because,
Yeah, I think we'd have to give it to Rodgers.
yeah, which would have put him on free, but here they didn't give it, so I can't say. The manager of the year was given to McKinns, and player of the year was given to Shankland again. Them being revealed before the season's over, I think is just retarded. I'll never understand that, because you know what? Seasons are sometimes determined in the last couple of weeks, so it makes no sense for me why you would decide these things beforehand. But Rafe Rovers, they tried their best. They tried to knock out Ross County. They didn't, and Ross County stay in the league, and that's pretty much it. Celtic win the league. Rangers, shite as per usual.
Biggest overachievers, biggest underachievers, who are you giving it to? Let's look at the league table, let's see it there.
Overachievers, I'm going to give it to... I've got to give it to Dundee.
I'm going to give it to Kelly. I mean, last season they were in the relegation battle right to the end. Second last game this season that they got fourth and clinched European football. I think Dundee's up there, but I'll just give it to Kelly. I think Dundee, if they could have got a couple more wins, then maybe. Underachievers, I mean, take your pick. Livingston, although they've been punching above their weight for a long time now, nobody expected them to do this bad. It was just unlike anything we've seen for David Martindale's side.
I'm going to give
over
under.
the year.
I'm going to.
But you've also got Aberdeen and Hibernian in there, two clubs that should be in the top 6 always, and
Yep.
both were really mediocre.
I'm going to give underachievers to Rangers, right? Because they fucking bottled it. Beale, you know, I actually thought last season on paper they had a really good window before a ball was kicked.
I'll give it to Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen have arguably on paper got the third best squad. They've got a squad that I would say is at least as good as Hearts.
No, yeah,
And honestly, man, if it was... But the reason I'm giving it to Aberdeen is that they have been saved by Peter Levin coming in at the end of the season and getting to... I mean, without that, Aberdeen really could have been 11th. See, without Peter Levin, there's no guarantee Aberdeen were not in that playoff relegation battle. They were so bad until like the final 2 months of the season. As soon as they got rid of Warnock, they started picking up... I mean, if you look at Aberdeen's form since they got rid of Warnock, I mean, they're probably... I'd say they're above Hearts in the form table. Maybe up there with Rangers. Their form was really good, albeit again, you've got to factor in last 5 games were against bottom 6 clubs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with Rangers. I'm done. I'm sick of defending these players, even though I've went through them pretty much the past couple of weeks/months. So yeah, Rangers for me, biggest underachievers. I think it's fucking pathetic what's going on. You actually get yourself back into it. I mean, they bottled it twice in one season. They bottled it at the start and they bottled it at the end.
Yeah, just giving you that false hope.
Yep, false hope, but
Fake it until you make it.
there's always next season, and that's where we're done. So yeah.
Celtic a third of the way to 9 in a row. Can they get 4 titles next season? We'll see.
We'll see, guys, but we'll be back. We've got the summer, we've got the Euros,
We'll always be back. Need to react to our predictions as well.
we've got the transfers, we've got everything. We've got the European qualification rounds. That's my favourite part of the season.
That is, aye, because that's probably because my
that.
team's always pumped it after that. But yeah, Hearts guaranteed group stage football this season. I'm happy with that.
He's happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Plus, I
Kinda.
believe with the added games, it goes into January now.
Yep. End of January, so you can get European football past Christmas. Till next time. Peace.